hello everyone watching on Twitch. We just started the stream here on Monday morning, and hello to everyone watching on YouTube. Again, it could be at any time. Not again, I just mentioned that for the first time. But that's the beauty of YouTube. You can watch it at any time at your leisure. So hello everyone, and right now we've got a game between T90 and Cloud, and it's cool to get T90 playing. I know he plays a lot off stream. He really enjoys the game, which is awesome, and it's nice to get like a nice little cast. And you guys have been recommending that I cast people of like lower elo than like the 2K4s. So this game is like 2K2, T90's 2K172, and GKT Cloud was like 2K230. So pretty evenly matched game, slightly lower elo than like the pros that I've been casting on the series so far. Definitely going to be interesting. I know I'm not going to make too many low elo Legends jokes, although it's fair game and it's such an easy shot. But no, this is not literally Legends. This is a Hera series, high elo, ranked analysis. We're going to put some respect on T90 for this one. For a change, for a change. And let's hop right into this one. So, cool. Also, any feedback from Twitch and feedback on YouTube as well on my casting, on my analysis, if there's something you want to see a bit more of, and on like the sound and the settings that I have set up on the game is always appreciated. So just let me know in the comments or on the Twitch chat. All right, guys, so we've got T90 playing in yellow as the Chinese. We've got Cloud playing in teal as the Britons. And the map is Golden Pit. If you guys are not familiar with Golden Pit, we can zoom out with the wonderful capture age. And we see a lot of golden stone in the center. Both players are kind of on their own. Not hill, because there's no hills on the outside. It's kind of just one flatland. And then there's like this crater in the center that houses all the resources. So it's pretty good, and then both players, we can analyze each other's maps, or each player's map. Both players have 2 3-tile golds on their home base and 2 4-tile stones, so you have some resources available, but not too much. There's no golden stone on the outside, as you can see clearly, and each player gets a regular deer patch and a couple woodlands to play with. The map is made more open recently. So if you guys watched Golden Pit a while ago, it usually is, quite closed back in the day, but now it's very open, and you can't just wall Rush FC every game like you used to be able to on this map. So that's definitely something to take note of. That's Cloud's map. On the other side, we've got T90's map. Back woodline for him, a couple woodlands at the top as well. Berries quite close to the back. 2 golds kind of on the right-hand side, and again the stones, well, one on the left, one on the right, and he's looking okay, but again, very open this map. So I expect to see some feudal aggression here. And I think we can speed this up a little bit here. That's 4 times. I want to go 2 times. Yeah, perfect. Just because we did join this one late, we can just fast forward a little bit here while they're just luring deer and going for the Dark Cage. But we can talk a little bit about the Civ matchup and what to expect from both players as well. Very important to think about this both in-game and in a cast. Don't just think Dark Age is a waste of time and not something that's interesting, as I hear the narrative being pushed a lot because of Empire Wars. Oh, I hate Dark Age, can't watch it, hate playing it, skip to Feudal Age. It's all well and good if you have that on Pidden, but Dark Age is actually a very important age because that's when you plan, that's when you prepare, and that's when you can lose your scout to the TC. So, both players have great civilizations here. Wouldn't be surprised if they picked, but could have also been random and just some luck. Cloud with Britons, he is going to attempt to go for a Drush Fast Castle, and I was just going to say that's the best strategy. However, he's got to be careful because he does have the forward berries, so T90 can easily punish this by going forward with some towers or some archers and kicking him off the berries in Feudal Age, and that could hurt the Drush FC quite a lot. But if Cloud does get away with this, like the Drush FC is the most powerful strategy, in my opinion, on this map, or just in general. T90 also losing his scouts, so that's really bad. Both players lose their scout. We're going to slow it down again here. I take it back. This might actually be lowly Legends. Okay, I had to do it at least once. Both players losing the scouts. That's quite bad for both, but I would say it's actually potentially worse for T90 because he didn't even scout the Drush. Luckily for him, Cloud attacks at like the worst spot there, the berries. He should have came on the side and attacked the villager, but he just kind of ran into the middle, and then T90 gets to the quick walls, and then walls in the wood, and he's perfectly fine. So like I said, Cloud, his best strategy is to go Drush FC because Britons with Drush FC is absolutely fantastic. The Drush buys you time for you to full wall, and your early cast his power spike with crossbows with extra range and cheaper TCs is phenomenal. Best strategy by far with Britons if you can get away with it. And then Cloud, and then T90 as the Chinese, you probably want to put some pressure on Britons. You can't go Drush FC versus Britons. That's not a possibility ever. You're just going to lose the crossbow war like every single time. All right? And so what you're going to go for is probably scouts opening or men-at-arms opening or one range archer opening to put a little bit of pressure and then just get some farms down and then prepare for a little bit later cast stage, but with a better eco. And I'll explain like the differences between the builds when the game develops. So we're gonna see a 1 range from T90, 2 on gold. It would have been nice for him to go Men-at-Arms. I will be honest, like Men-at-Arms, it would have been a pretty solid choice on a map like this, because then you can play Men-at-Arms and Skirm, put some pressure, like Men-at-Arm 2 archers to put some pressure, and then just switch to Skirmishers. But in this way, this is also fine. It's not necessarily a mistake. It's just that he's not going to be able to put as much pressure with this. What he's going to do is he's going to make 2-3 archers to clean the militia, and then put pressure. He'll probably deny the berries. And then after that, he's going to be able to go for skirmishers and play skirmishers versus Britons, which is a very logical idea. Now, the thing is, Cloud didn't commit to Drush FC, and we had no way to know this, of course. T90 had no way to know this. He lost his scout, in fact. And how does this change the game? Well, the FC would have made it so T90 is kind of just having the feudal age for himself. He can just set up and go for castle age, but then in castle age he'd be playing with crossbow very early, and he'll probably be on the defensive. But now it's pretty much a completely even game. Like now, Cloud, it's not because like before it'd be even in the theoretical sense, no one's behind, but Cloud would have initiative in the castle age, and T90 had initiative in feudal age. Now it's completely balanced, I should say. Not even game, but a balanced game where both players have a chance to gain initiative and do damage. Very good choice by T90 to keep an archer back here. And it looks like, so I'm going to go to T90's perspective here real quick. How do I feel Fog of War? There it is. T90 actually sees these men-at-arms and doesn't react in time. He needs to be looking at his mini-map. Great play from Cloud to get in there with the men-at-arms. But nice response from T90 to quick wall. And I think he'll, okay. I thought he can make him back with that guy, but he died. Sag. But yeah, so T90 missed that one on his mini-map. That's why I always recommend to check your mini-map as much as possible. But these things happen to everyone. And he only lost 1 villager for it. And Cloud did invest into men-at-arms for that. And now some archers back home as well. T90's trying to put pressure with 2 archers. He's going straight for the deer. I wonder if he even knows that the deer are here. Or maybe he's going to go for the hole that's right here that Cloud opened. So there's potential attack on both sides. The one thing I must criticize right away is T90 is going for 2 ranges. And he's right away splitting his army very, very thin. Like, I need to pause here for a second. He's splitting his army very thin without even knowing what Cloud is doing. And Cloud actually is not going for a fast castle. So like this is a problem for me, because if you're splitting your army thin and you know your opponent is making feudal army, you can either get counterattacked and you have got very exposed resources, or you can just risk running into walls and not doing any damage to your units. And like T90 is doing all this without having any vision. Remember, he lost a scout early. So he knows that there's going to be Cloud army on the field. And he knows that he doesn't have the biggest army, and he knows that Cloud might be walled because he went for a drush. And yeah, he's still spreading his army thin, sending two archers here, keeping 1 archer chasing the men-at-arms or defending, and then adding a second range before the blacksmith. He might take a lot of damage to the fletching archers. Better would be to just defend while you get your walls up, or just defend your gold and don't think about attacking, because you know your opponent is not going for drush fast castle. You don't need to attack anymore. It's better to secure your base since you're not walled, and you know your opponent could be walled. That being said, he gets in with 2 archers, and oh wait, he does have fletching. Oh, I take that back. Wait, where's T90's blacksmith? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I take it back. The second range is fine. I thought he did the second range before the blacksmith. Never mind. He's okay. He's okay. If he didn't have fletching to deal with this, could be very annoying, but he does. He'll be okay. I take all that back in terms of the second range nonsense, but you know, potentially he could still be spreading his army quite thin. He ends up getting away with it though. He gets into Cloud's base, and this is what I'm talking about. You spread your army thin, and you end up not accomplishing a whole lot, but it does make the game difficult for Cloud, so I don't hate it. And it wasn't so bad as I anticipated. Once again, I didn't even see the blacksmith, so I take it back. T90, you're okay, my man. And the second range was a good choice in this case, because you already have the blacksmith, so you're good to make that second range. And he wants to play ranges and castle anyways. So the game is very even still. I will say though, T90 might lose a second vill. That could be really bad. And these men-at-arms have definitely paid for themselves. Yeah, that's huge. Like 2 villas with men-at-arms is just huge. I don't think T90 killed a villager. I could have missed it, but I don't think he got a vill with those 2 archers. And now Cloud's gonna be going across the map. This is okay. This is an okay situation for T90. He can still win. He's moving out, but again, it might just like you know your opponent is walled. Moving out, you don't need to move out so much. And like, okay, you know, it's a little bit like It's easy for me to say now, since I'm casting and I have full vision and I see Cloud's army moving out. But personally, I'd be way too cautious. You can't move out when you have forward gold, forward wood line. Yeah, he knows he knows how fragile this is now. And he knows that he's in trouble. But he should have thought of that 30 seconds ago and not attacked. Because the most he can do now is hit wood line from outside, right? That's the most. He's not going to kill a villager. He's just going to deny woods. Whereas Cloud can actually deny resource and kill villas, which we're seeing right away. So T90 should definitely not have moved out of the army. If your opponent's fully walled, you try to fully wall or you just defend. It's the sad reality. But you cannot attack or sneak against someone who's fully walled when you yourself are open. It's unfortunately just not going to work. And so we see that T90 denies the wood line. Not bad. But again, back home, he's taking a lot of damage. And that's the kind of things that can cost you the game, you know, especially with that forward gold. Alright, armies will trade. More scrims coming out. I do like the skirmishers. I think that's really good. I think you want to play scrims versus Britons anyways. And T90 is having some good micro here, some success on the outside of the walls. Cloud should probably not even fight this. Like, I don't even know why he's trying to fight it. He can just leave it there. It's not doing anything. But he's got some scrims to defend, so he'll be fine. Third range. I don't think this is a good idea, guys. You don't make third range with Britons, especially. Your range is already... Oh, no, it's the second range. Man, my commentary is terrible today. First game of the day casting, guys. I'm rusty. Second range is totally fine. I take it back. But in theory, you only want up to 2 ranges with Britons in early castle. If you want to make a third building, you make a stable to counter skirms, or you just make an early ballistics in castle. It's much better than the third range. In this case, the second range is totally fine. Double down on the crossbow production. You're good there, my man. Cloud. Alright, T90 finally walling, but this wall is like 5 minutes late. Yeah, this wall is like great, but 5 minutes late. You know what I mean? Like, had he done this wall earlier and just defended with his units, he would have actually saved himself 2 villagers and the tower that he made, which only cost him 15 stone. So he could have saved himself a lot of resources and minimized a lot of risk as well. And my god, these men-at-arms have been very annoying. And I credit this to Cloud, actually. It's not so much a mistake from T90, it's more of a great play from Cloud to keep running away with these and then coming back and picking off vills. Really well done there. And you know what this shows, actually? What we can learn from this is don't waste units. Like, I see a lot of people when they have men-at-arms, after they make use of the initial attack, they just throw them under the TC or waste them. I do it sometimes as well. If you can save them, run them away. Let your opponent constantly have to think about them and worry about them. And then when they're not worrying about them, you come in, you attack, and you can kill a couple of vills. He killed 3 vills total with 3 men-at-arms. That is fantastic value. And it's been by far his most effective army at dealing with villagers. And T90 is constantly forced to send army to deal with it. Alright, now T90 is attacking, and now I don't mind the attack. Why? Because he's fully walled at home. Now, if Cloud counterattacks with some army, well, T90 will just have to run his gold away, but that's all that he has to do. And the damage he's going to be getting is still pretty good. So, T90 attacking now is actually fantastic. And I want to make a clear difference of why it's okay now to attack and not before. And that's simply because now he's fully walled at home and he can defend himself since he knows his opponent is fully walled and could easily sneak. He's not walled on the top left. Yeah, but that's okay. He's getting that walled. Like, the idea is he's going to be walled. You know what I mean? Alright, T90 runs away. He's not yet Castlage. Cloud hits Castlage first. What I don't like about Cloud's situation, I'm going to be real, is that he's committing to elite skirm as Britons. I actually hate that. I would much prefer, and I know Leary much prefers it as well. Viper much prefers it as well. A lot of the top players with Britons, what they usually do, and why they're so impactful, is they go for crossbows and then 1 or 2 knights. 1 or 2 knights. Crossbow 1 or 2 knights or crossbow mangonel. And what that does is so much more effective than going elite skirm. Because what that does is that the knights can easily kill the skirms of your opponent, and the crossbow can easily outrange everything your opponent has. Snipe those from over the walls, outrange the skirms, you can easily run away. And the pressure that you can get from that, no way, there's a hole. And the pressure you get from that is just phenomenal. But with elite skirms, you don't get that same kind of pressure, except if your opponent has a hole like this. But the point is, if T90 gets skirms now, T90 is going to be fine. Like, the skirms provide no value. And then the crossbows mixed in, the extra range is meaningless now, because you're mixing them with skirms. So I actually hate playing elite skirms with Britons. In the early game, I think it's like one of the worst choices. Much better is to go crossbows, and then go 1 stable knights to counter your opponent's skirms or mangonels. That's my opinion. Skirms should really be a last resort. And T90 should be playing much more aggressive into this, just run at it. Like, he should hit and then run like forward, because you can't afford to let him like run away and hit your villagers. So he really needs to clean that up, and he does. Well done. And now he's gonna get a university. So T90 will go for skirmishers and crossbows, and this is okay for Chinese. And the reason why it's okay for Chinese is because the skirms will deal with any range unit that Cloud has, and then the crossbows are just in case Cloud goes for knights. So it's okay in theory. In this case, the crossbows is actually a wasted tech, because your opponent, like the opponent, is going to be going for mangonels and not knights. So in this case, the crossbow is actually a quote-unquote mistake. It's just a wasted tech in my opinion. It's not going to give too much value. We'll see. Could help at killing villagers, but other than that, not too much value. I'd prefer to just take elite scrims and boom, or add a siege workshop myself. All right, putting the pressure. Maginot already set up from Cloud on the hill. Like I don't understand. Like now Cloud just has no army. Like he invested into elite scrim and crossbow, and all of a sudden he's got no army. Like might as well just invest into just one of those units. He's getting university. Oh, I hate this. Okay. Cloud has no army. He's getting 3 TCs. Like he wants to go 3 TC. He has no army on the field. Like he has barely any resources. He's not even producing from his ranges, and he wants to go ballistics. That's such an expensive building to get, and he's not going to be able to even afford ballistics. And even if he does, he's going to have no army to make use of it. This is the classic trying to do too much at once. It's much better to just stick with only what you can afford, to not make a building that's not going to give value for the next like 5 minutes. Like I hate the university there. In my opinion, it's just throwing 200 wood down the drain for now. But we'll see. I do think T90 has a window of opportunity here that he can capitalize on. He's going to start by clearing up Cloud's army on the top, which is annoying his wood line. Good choice. Crossbows on the fronts. He could try to microverse the mangonels. I don't know if it's the best choice. I don't mind it. Not the best there on the first shot. Splits. Decent engagement there from Cloud. Decent connection, I should say. And T90 runs away. Safe to say that didn't pay off, and oh, this is looking rough. Yeah, that's not good. He should have just waited for one night. That's why I said like I don't mind if he micros against it, because he could do it, but if it's gonna turn out like that, just wait for the one night and just simplify the game for yourself. It's a lot easier. And yeah, that's good. That's something that I learned over the years. Like I used to take every micro fight. These days I'm a macro only player, bro. On ranked games, I don't micro anything. I found myself, which is yeah, it's kind of a bit lazy for me, but also like I feel like in some cases it's good, because you just play like so consistently, because you're not taking any micro fights that are risky. Like micro by definition can gain you advantage, but is also always risky. And that's like I guess one of the riskier situations versus 2 mangonels. But yeah, that's something that I found myself. I used to micro everything. Nowadays I micro very little. I still do it from time to time because I still like it, but I've gotten a lot more lazy in that regard. Some people in the chat, I also do not micro. True. You guys are doing it well, don't worry. But I like the night edition from T90, because it's gonna let him put a lot of pressure and deal with the mangonels very easily. And this is kind of what he needed to push. Like in my opinion, instead of going crossbow, what he should have done is make the night transition earlier. He does have ballistics, which is actually pretty good, and then just go for like siege earlier. You know what I mean? Like I still think the crossbow attack is not very useful. It's gonna help him kill villagers, but how useful really is that? It costed him like 200 resources. So, and it's just harder to micro crossbow and skirm. They don't fire the same rate. It's weird to micro both of them. So I don't know. Personally, I don't like that, but I do like the siege workshop. That's good. Remember, T90 is on 2 TCs, guys, so he has to do damage. He's going to fall behind in economy. But if you can force a fight, Cloud on 3 TC, in theory, will have less immediate resources to defend because he's invested more resources into his economy. So Cloud, if he can hold for the next 5-10 minutes, he'll be fine. But if he starts taking some major losses, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Especially on a map like Golden Pit, where momentum is super important and the middle comes into play quite early in Imp. Ballistics is in for Cloud now, and he did pick that up in reasonable time. Still, though, University came down a couple minutes early, that's for sure. Nice to have it in right now, though. It's always cool. And now the Mangonel's coming out in defense, because he sees that T90 has his own siege workshop on the front, so looking pretty good there. Pretty messy on the front, but you gotta take gold. But what can you do about it? His gold at home is running out, and this one is quite exposed, so we might as well just go for the middle. T90 is gonna be putting some pressure. 3 mangonels in the queue, pretty good. At this point, T90 is actually mining some stone. I actually really like this choice. I think you definitely mind stone on 2TCs here to put pressure, because if you can just put pressure for the next 2 minutes, potentially get some damage like this with the Magano, and then just castle drop, Cloud can have a really hard time dealing with that. And I definitely, like, forget about the score, forget about the Vil count. I favor T90's position here by far. I think he's easily winning this game. I think the only way T90 loses this game is if he makes a lot of big mistakes and loses momentum on the front, and that's going to come down from him over microing. Like right here, losing this army is really bad. He needs to just get his army together, get good Magano momentum, and then drop a forward castle. It's very, very straightforward plan, but it could be hard to execute it. Let's see. Good trade on the Magano. Step number 1. It's very hard because he's getting hit on the side as well. So the game is quite intense, making arguably the worst TC of the year, but he's under a lot of pressure, so we're not going to knock him too much for it. And over on the left-hand side, or in the middle, I should say, the Magano War is kind of at a stalemate, but T90 is setting up outposts to make that happen. The reason why he's getting outposts, and I recommend a lot of play... Ooh, forward castle drops, and I actually don't mind the position. It's a very safe position, but what this castle does is it literally just forces Cloud off gold. It's not too aggressive, it's just enough to force him off gold, and I think that's good. But like I said, if T90 doesn't get this up, he's actually dead. Like, he was in a good position if he can get this up. But he chose to micro a lot on the top and just simplify the game. Get all your army in one spot and execute the plan, which is just put pressure with the castle. And like, Cloud is actually winning. Like, Cloud's gonna deny the castle. I had literally called this. If you take too many fights before this happens, you just lose your win condition. He lost a fight in the front. He's microing on the side of his 2 Mangonels. And he lost track of the win condition, which is just a forward castle in the middle. He literally lost track of the win condition in the last 5 minutes. And as a result, he loses because he can't defend the forward castle. And he did a safe castle as well, which was a good choice. But if it gets denied, it's obviously... Like, imagine if he did it more forward. It would have got denied even harder. But GG and Cloud wins. And like I said, the only way Cloud wins is if he denies the castle and gains momentum. And that's exactly what happened, unfortunately, for T90. Ends with a doubt castle, everyone's favorite. But yeah, I think the biggest point that I want to bring up here is T90, like, he overcomplicated. He lost himself almost. He overcomplicated the game a lot. And he had such a good strategy in the mid game to do 2 TCs, you know, a couple knights, range units, siege workshop forward, and then followed by forward castle. Like, that's insane on this map. And in the end, he just didn't follow through with that. Like, he tried to, like, raid on the side. And again, what are you really accomplishing with that? Like, at best, you kill 2 Mangonels, you micro like a beast, you push 3 villas off this gold that's depleted already, and you lose no army, but then your army's still out of position. And at worst, you lose half your army to the Mangonels, and you get no damage, which is kind of what happened. You have just half your army remaining. And then he also took some pretty bad trades on the front, and he was also distracted by the army on the top. So T90 had army in like 3 different spots, but the one place he should have had army was in the middle. Even here, like, you could chase it, but you could also just ignore it because your win condition is in the center. Imagine if T90 had all his army in the middle, dropped the castle, not even here, right here, denied all the gold, and killed the town center. He'd probably just win instantly, like, literally instantly. GG's though, very nice game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Hera High Elo Ranked Analysis. Amazing series name as well. This might go to YouTube, so hello to everyone watching on YouTube, and goodbye to those watching on YouTube. We're going to take a look at the statistics real quick though, before every game. Hopefully this was educational, hopefully this was entertaining, and you guys enjoyed the game as a whole. Military 94 to 70, more kills for Cloud. Economy, more for Cloud. He's on 3TC, we expect that. Again, the military should have been in favor of T90, but he lost track of it near the end there. Cost him the game. And Vils was, you know, it's quite close, 99 to 77. I mean, total Vils, I think 88. Is that the total he made, or is that Vil high? I think that's the total, eh? So T90 lost a lot of Vils. And APM, subscribe to my YouTube so I can go upgrade to Pro, so I can see your APM for you guys. Anyways, thanks for watching and take care. Peace.